To have faith in God is not a stagnant state, it's a journey. As believers, we should grow in our knowledge of God and His Word. Walk with Alan Cutting and many other believers as we walk the believer's journey.
Thank you for joining us today. Aloha. I'm so glad you're with us. I'm so glad that we're doing this program today. It's a special program I have. But before we start, I want to thank everybody who prays for our ministry, who supports our ministry in various ways. I want to thank our sponsors. We have Smart Choice Benefits. We have Guerrero Law. We have Guerrero CPA. And we have Trade Show Displays, all of which we really are thankful for. I also want to take the time to thank all of those who helped us on our trip to Moldova and who gave for our trip. It was really wonderful, and it was a blessing. And I hope that you see that it's going to be a blessing to you as we show you through the year all that we've done. Okay. Today I have a pretty neat show. Our topic is on seeds, the parable of the sower. We're going to talk about seeds. And with me today is a very special guest. Her name is Elmira Cucos.
Hello. Hi. My name is Elmira.
And Elmira is the daughter of Radu and Luda Cucos, who have been on our program many times, and also who the Believer's Journey works with when we go to Moldova. When we go to Moldova, we actually will do seminars on relationships and marriage and things like that, and we team up with Radu and Luda. They do this pretty professionally while they're out there, and they're trying to gain a perspective of life in family life and marriages. And so they're on a mission to do this in Moldova. And I think this is really amazing. And so when we went to Moldova, we came back with two girls, and one was Elmira and the other was her sister, Yana. And they're with us for 2 months before their parents get here for another 2 months. So they're going to be in the United States for 4 months, basically, and they're staying with us. Elmira, actually, you worked for, 2 or more years to learn your English?
Yeah, 2 years.
She wanted to come to the United States so badly. She told me, and I told her a couple of years ago, I says, if you learn English, you can come. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah, you do.
And so she was on a mission, and she learned English, and it's pretty amazing. And she's 16 years old. She'll be 17 in March.
Yes.
And she begged her dad to go to Hawaii when we go to Hawaii. And he, of course, said no. But Elmira is a really neat young lady. And I met Elmira in 2011. The situation was really interesting. It was my first time in Moldova, and I had gotten there a week earlier than I should have. I was supposed to be teaching at the Bible seminary. And because I got a week early, I had to stay somewhere. Well, Radu mentioned I could stay with them. So he had a little bitty flat. How big was it? It was tiny, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really tiny, like a small box.
So it had 2 bedrooms. They had 4 children. Elmira was 2.5 years old at that time. Her sister was 6 months old, and they slept in 1 bedroom. And their brothers, Daniel and Emmanuel, slept in the other bedroom. This gave the parents slept in the living room. And so the living room kind of became their bedroom. Well, while I was there, they made a place for the girls to sleep in their bedroom, the living room, while I was there. And the first thing in the morning, I wake up, and this little 2.5-year-old girl was standing there in front of this box TV. And as she's standing there watching, she runs over to me, and I'm in the bed, and I'm half awake, half asleep. And she starts talking to me in some language I have never heard in my life. And she stood there waiting for an answer. And I went, yes. And she got excited, and she went back and watched her TV. And about 5 minutes later, she came and did the same thing. And she must have did it 3 or 4 times. I don't know. You would not even remember this. I don't know.
I don't think I remember that.
And she was just the cutest button girl I've ever known. And so from then on, we've just become really good friends and buddies, haven't we?
Yeah.
So when I visit Moldova, I make sure we talk. And It's really good. Elmira had a problem in learning how to talk, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Explain that.
I had a problem to pronounce some words like letter S. I had problem with that, so usually parents tried everything to help me communicating properly, but it was hard until I became 5 years old and we got Sarah, how I remember, and I started to pronounce words more properly than before, and I slowly became. And I slowly know how to talk by their help.
In fact, you have a real hard time actually speaking in Romanian right now?
Yes.
So you basically speak Russian?
Yeah, basically I speak Russian because Romanian is like, I don't understand that. I don't want to understand that.
That's okay. Which is interesting because I would think Romanian is an easier language than Russian, but...
No, it is not.
No?
No.
Not for you.
Not for me.
So what's interesting is that Elmira, when she was probably about 7 or 8, I was in Moldova, and I had this tablet. And there's a little game on your tablets called Free Flow. Okay, and what it is like these little dots, and they're colors, like 2 reds and 2 blues and 2 greens and 2 yellows. And you would connect the yellows to the yellow and the blue to blue, and you could not cross the other ones.
Yeah.
And I was doing this, and I was up on a higher level, and then Elmira got really interested and started watching me. So then I handed the tablet to her, and she was just doing them naturally as if she had been doing them forever. And it got to be where she was starting to do it as fast as me. And I how can this little girl do this? And you were having such a hard time in school because teachers were wanting to hold you back because you couldn't speak well, correct?
Yeah, it is.
So it was really difficult. And as I saw her with this tablet, then we decided to time us. Your dad decided, okay, we're going to time you. And she was almost, and sometimes just as fast as I was on these, connecting these colors. And I'm like, there's no way. And I thought, she's not slow. She's a genius. She's smart. She's brilliant. And they've got it all wrong in the schools. They don't know how to deal with her. And it was really amazing how smart I really realized and picked up she was. In fact, what's really cool is I went ahead and left you the tablet, but what did you do with it?
I was keep playing the Free Flow, and it was like, I don't know what to do, so I'll just keep playing with it.
And you broke it.
Yes.
So basically, we've basically grew from there. I think a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when we were in Moldova, I showed you Sudoku.
Yes.
And I think by the afternoon, you were on level 50.
Yes.
I'm like, how can anybody do that? And so it's just been pretty cool. So now she's here. She came on the airplane with Susan and I, and she came with her sister. And her sister doesn't speak as well the English language as you do.
Yes.
So half the time or 3/4 of the time, she's having to get her phone out to get translations, or she looks to Elmira and said, what do I say? Or how do I say it? And so that's kind of an interesting dialogue we have at our table most nights. So Elmira and her sister. So talk about the fact that you've come here now and you're going to school. How do you go to school? What do you do? And how do you like the United States since you've been here?
Well, we are actually in homeschooling right now because of the past public schools. I had problem with it. So right now, my parents sent me to the online school, and we've been there for 2 years for now. And it's kind of hard to understand the program, how it works in the online school, but we slowly became understanding that, and I slowly started to get on track with my lessons and understand what the lessons mean and what I need to learn, like in Bible or in science. So, yeah.
So this is basically one of the big ways that you learn English, because you have to do your schooling in English, correct?
Yes.
So So what is it like here so far?
In Texas? Well, it's kind of hard to explain because it's my first time or fourth time being here, and it's kind of interesting to watch other people talk with me. Like I'm some kind of a friend. Like in the past a few days, we've been in the steakhouse, and the waiter was talking with me like a friend. I was like, how people do that in here? And it's kind of interesting, and it makes me feel a little bit better because in the past few days I feel unwell with my emotions and with my friends who I talk with. But when I talk with people, I feel a lot better in here.
Something now here's really something interesting. Since the girls have been here, I vowed and promised that I would take them on a date. So on one weekend one Saturday, I would take you, Elmira, out on a date. It would be her choice of where she wants to go eat and what she wants to do afterwards. Of course, you said you wanted to go to an American mall.
Yeah.
You've never been there. It was so crowded.
Yeah.
So, and then I took her sister, took Yana last weekend. And of course, Yana's different. So you and I went to a steak restaurant. She wanted to go to KFC. And frozen yogurt. They're totally different, thinking. But something she said was really interesting. She said she thought it was nicer here in America. She'd use the word America because the people in the restaurant talked to her nicely. How do you gather this?
Well, usually when I go to a restaurant, most waiters are saying, "What do you want? We can make an order for you." And I was like, maybe this. And in there, she talked with me trying to comfort me, with that nice tone and being with me nice and gentle. So it kind of lifted me up and, how to say it? Sometimes I'm really nervous to talk with people, but when I'm in here, I feel a lot more confident and a lot more brave with my words and with my communication with them. So I'm trying my best to talk with them, and it makes me happy that I'm trying at least.
So you think that people are pretty nice here in Texas?
Yes.
That's really good. I have to agree. In San Antonio, especially, even though my heart's in Hawaii and I really want to be in Hawaii, I have to say that the people in San Antonio are really nice here. I've been in a lot of different places. They may not be as nice as the people in Hawaii, but they're pretty nice here. I have to give that to Texas. San Antonians are pretty cool. Okay, so this is what I want to ask you. You are a missionary daughter. Okay, yes. You're the child of 4 children. You have 2 brothers and a sister. Okay, you're the oldest of their daughters. You're the 3rd child.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a missionary's child?
Sometimes exhausting because we have to move from one country to another, to one house to another. But sometimes it's kind of interesting to meet new people. Sometimes some families took us in different places and with their generosity, entertaining us, me and Yana mostly. But with parents, sometimes it's a little bit hard to understand their view of missionary, and I trying to get to understand what we see in these missionaries, and I wanted to try that in the future to be a missionary and travel to different countries and talk about God, how He loves, and what path He prepares for everyone.
I noticed that you and I talked earlier, and you were mentioning how sometimes it's a struggle, but you really have a concern for your friends and that you want to talk to them about Jesus.
Yes, it is. There are some of my friends that aren't Christians, like Yeva or Philip, some of my friends from Christian family. I have one friend that has a problem with Christianity, and she's a nice girl, and I like to talk with her, and she has an insecurity that I will someday leave her because she's weird and some stuff like that. But I said to her, you know what? I am also weird. So what? We can both be weird. We can be friends, and I can show you about my faith in God, how we can still be friends and afterwards, and what the path did God prepare for you through me.
Okay. So how does it feel sometimes? I know that in your house, and especially like when you had the small box you lived in, okay, you always had lots of people coming over. You know, your parents had either a Bible study group or they counseled people, so that your house has always people coming in and coming, going and coming and going. How does that affect you in your home?
Well, actually, it doesn't really affect me, but I trying to listen to their teachings and to learn from that some new stuff, from Bible studies, because I heard it many times, many times, but I'm still learning, because sometimes some teachings are there that I didn't understand, and when they explain it. They made me understand some things that I didn't know about the Bible and about the God.
So is it important to you to learn from your parents?
Yes, it is.
So I consider your father, he's one of my closest friends. And of course, Luda, you too, if you're watching. But I consider your dad a close friend. And he's what's really important is that he really does seem to research and study the Bible. In your talks with your dad, or in listening to your dad teach, how do you view him as a Bible teacher or someone who has a lot of knowledge? How do you view that?
Actually, I view my father as a strict teacher, actually. I'm sorry. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to understand what he's trying to say, because sometimes he is going too direct or too metaphorical. I don't know, to understand the message that I don't understand. But sometimes he can explain it in simpler words, because sometimes he uses hard words that I don't understand. But he tries to let me understand that, and he usually helps me with the lessons and with the Bible studies that I don't know about, and he doesn't force me to do it. He says, if you want to, you can do it, but if you don't want to, don't do it. And if I want to, I'm doing it. If I don't, I'm just living it how it is. And sometimes he's listening to his teaching, like when we gather in the room together, all family, and doing the prayer, we usually read some stories from the Bible, and I learn more about it, and he asks questions. I sometimes answer them, and it explains my faith, and he understands that my faith is very small, but he's trying to help me through teaching and prayer.
So you consider your dad a good father?
Of course it is.
And you consider him a good missionary?
Of course.
Okay. Do you see any faults in your dad?
Well, sometimes he's too strict, or he's a little bit hard to understand, but I don't see any problem with him.
So he's a pretty good guy.
Yes.
So are you daddy's girl?
No, my sister. I am mostly my mama's girl, because I took her appearance, I took her personality, and it was like, how does that possible? I don't look like her.
Well, I noticed that you like to take the time to help out in the kitchen.
Yes, it is.
And you also help out doing laundry.
Yeah, because I have responsibilities, and I'm trying to be a big girl, like mother taught me since I was little. And I'm trying to be like grown up.
So when we were in Moldova, I don't know, a couple months ago, you said something in the car when your dad was there and I was there. You said, "I'm not a teenager, I'm an adult." Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
Of course, your dad and I both says, "No, you're still a child. You're still a teenager." And yours, "Nope, I'm an adult." So you're wanting to be an adult.
Yes, because I am almost 17 and it's close to 18. And I was like, I need to learn how to take my responsibilities, like to do art lessons, to my homeschool properly, and how to take some time to help my mother with some responsibilities that she has, like to make it easier for them since I'm grown up.
Do you find it hard to be a missionary's child?
Sometimes, yeah, because some people I don't know, it's hard to talk with because of my nervousness, but I sometimes trying to be brave and talk with people I don't know, so I can finally understand what we can talk about, and if we can have a nice conversation like with you, Alan.
Well, I'm not usually hard to talk to.
Sometimes you are.
Okay.
Sometimes you are.
So in your house, let me ask you this question. So your mom and your dad, they seem to be busy a lot with, they're part of Campus Crusade, right?
Yes.
But they also do work with other families and other home ministries. So they're busy counseling and they're busy doing things. And in fact, when I was there, Susan and I went to North and South Moldova and Central Moldova, where it wasn't part of Cru. We actually did seminars, but it was part of another ministry called Crosslinks with Yura Sermachi. So in other words, what I'm getting at is that your dad seems to be, and your mom seem to be busy a lot. But do you feel like you find that they are finding time for you as their child?
Yes, of course. Sometimes we do our prayers, like gather together and do prayers together and Bible teaching. Like my mom trying to find some time for me and my sister, because sometimes she knows that I'm feeling lonely sometimes, and she's trying to help me to get rid of that feeling so I won't feel lonely when she's not around, and I can totally understand that.
Well, you're a teenager, and you know what? Teenagers go through this.
Yeah.
They all, almost everyone does. So I want to bring up something that is a love of yours. You do art.
Yes.
Okay, and how long have you been drawing?
Since I was a little girl, actually.
You're still a little girl. But do you know what age?
Probably around 2 or 3 years when I started to draw something on the paper.
Really?
Yes.
You're really good now.
Yeah.
You know you are.
Yeah, I did.
So you take art lessons and you do it at school, from school. Well, you go see somebody and it helps you. Correct? Yeah. So what do you, when you draw, what is it that you want to express, or what does it do for you?
Well, it's usually just let out my feelings, and it's really easy to let my feelings in the drawings, like what I feel in my heart or in my mind. And sometimes I just draw what I like some anime or other stuff that I like. And it really expresses my feelings and my mind, what is going on in there, through the drawings that I do at home.
I have to tell you that this is really important. A lot of people like myself, because, when I want to get my expressions and feelings out, I listen to music or I play the guitar. So I have a guitar and I get out and I play it, and it helps me. In fact, a lot of people use instruments like a guitar or piano or, kazoo. I know if Susan heard me say that, she's going to cringe. That that music is a big outlet for your emotions, but you found a way in art, which I can never do. I can't even draw a stick figure correctly. So I have to applaud you because you have found something on your own to express that to help yourself. And you need to keep that the rest of your life.
I know I do.
So anything else you do to help yourself to express or just unwind?
Yeah.
What else?
I'm usually sometimes just playing games if I'm feeling bored, or sometimes just listen to music. But anytime I do that, my parents told me that I'm doing it too much, and it usually makes me very emotional. So usually when I draw, I feel a lot better than playing some games to release my emotions. So when I draw, it's like feeling very relief from my heart to the drawing, and I can talk with people after we're drawing instead of after the games. Because sometimes I'm being like too emotional, like I don't want to do that. I want to continue play games, yada yada. It makes me a little bit like still a teenager that I don't like to be, so I'm trying to get over it.
Well, and that's good. I mean, even adults play games. We just don't play them as long as you do. But I know the other day I was in the living room. You had your door closed. Oh, I was in my office, and you had your door closed, and I could hear you. I guess you were talking to somebody else. You had to, because I came in, you had headphones on.
Yeah, I talk with my friends sometimes because they play games, and I have to join them because it's the only way I can communicate right now with them.
Okay. All right. So you have a brother, Emmanuel, and he's involved in the ministry with his guitar, right? He's on a music team, correct?
Yes.
And Daniel, he gets involved. In fact, when I'm there, he translates for me, but he gets involved with the teens and so forth. Do you see yourself getting involved in ministry like they have, or even more than them?
Sometimes, usually when I have to help the ministry team with the preparations, but usually I don't, because it's not my thing right now, so I have to wait until I be ready or to learn something first before I get involved in that. So it's a little bit hard to explain that because I usually don't get myself involved in the missionary, but sometimes I have to help them because they don't have enough people around to help them. So I'm trying my best to help them with the preparations, with the meetings, and with our stuff. Like in Target Life, I have to help them prepare the room for the people who is coming there and learning about God through teenager stuff. Like music, we had music, and our stuff like life and about future.
And Target Life is the teenage group, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I spoke with them when I was there. Actually, I spoke with them, I think, the last time I was here also. So is there anything else you want to say about like life as a teenager in a missionary's home that is easy, hard, or difficult?
I have one thing in my mind.
Okay.
Too many responsibilities for me.
Well, you have a lot of responsibilities. You have more responsibilities than I ever had when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So, but I have to applaud you. You do them well. Just hopefully your parents reward you for it.
Yeah.
And so, but you are an amazing young lady. I wanted to bring you on this program because I want the world to know how amazing you really are. You are brilliant. You are sensitive. You are loving. You are kind. You want to be the best you can be. I know all these things about you. Of course, you and I talk, and of course, I watch you a lot. So, not only teenagers, not all adults are as mature in those areas as you are. Mm-hmm. I know that you have a long way to go, but you're still only 16. And I have to grant the fact that, you're loved. You're loved by your parents. You're loved by your auntie and uncle. That God loves you so much, and you were just a very special lady. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you coming on talking about this on this program, because I've never had a teenager or a child come on who is the parent or child of a missionary or a minister. Usually it's an adult talking about when they were a child. And yet, so this is really unique for me, and it's very unique for you. And so I just wanted to have our audience know how important this is, and how nervous I know that you started off to be. So even a couple days ago. So if you're done, we'll talk about seeds. Okay, this is your topic. You wanted to talk about seeds, and we talked about the parable of the sower. And the parable of the sower we find in Matthew and Mark and Luke, all three Gospels. Okay, and in Mark it's in chapter 4, and in Matthew it's in chapter 13, and Luke it's in chapter 8. And it's about throwing seeds on hard soil, rocky soil, on the
street.
Yeah, that's the hard soil. And then you have also where the thorns are and weeds, and then you have good soil. And Jesus really did an amazing job in telling this story. And then he went ahead and he told what it meant. Okay. So you were talking to me about seeds. Talk to everybody about seeds and how you see this and how does it affect you?
Well, when I usually hear about this parable, I think, I am a seed that has thorns, because sometimes I feel very nervous when I talk about God with my friends who is not Christian. So it's a little bit hard for me to express my feelings for God and for path they prepared for people I communicate with. But sometimes I feel myself like my faith isn't enough to grow a seed from the seed to a tree or something like that, and I'm trying to get through that feeling and to become a seed that has a good soil and grow up 3 or 6 times than it is.
Okay, and how do you see yourself? What kind of a seed, or where do you see yourself as in placement of where you are? Okay,
so I see it as a seed with thorns, because I told you about how I'm nervous with new people who don't know about the God, because in the past I had a problem with my friends who didn't know about the God, and when I explained it, they thought, she's selfish a bit. And I was like, no, I'm not. And it made me close up, because it's like hurt me a little. When I talk about God, some people think I'm selfish. But I can't blame them. I was pretty selfish back then and proud girl. So right now I'm trying to be better at that and not be selfish to talk about God. Like, look, I'm a Christian girl and God loves me. No, I'm trying to get them understand that God loves everyone and every person with his own heart, and that everyone has a place in his heart. So I'm trying to be a better person with being a seed with a good soil. But
okay. Do you know that just because there are weeds around you doesn't mean that you're not in good soil?
Yeah.
So you could be in good soil and still have weeds around you.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want you to think that just because there's hard things going around you that you're in the rocky soil. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It's if you look at the parable, it just means that they're in an area where they just don't care about Jesus. They care more about life. I'm sure that's the wrong way to say it. They care about the things of the world. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you care more about Jesus, even when there's hard things, you see, being a Christian doesn't mean there's only going to be easy things. You should know this.
Yeah, I know that.
And your parents probably, you can see frustration in their lives sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it doesn't mean they're not in good soil. So you could be in good soil, and you probably are in good soil. But when the weed comes up, it's about dealing with the weed so that you can maintain growing, even though you have the stuff coming around you. If you go to any farm, most farms are going to have weeds and things growing in where the good crops are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why they go and they kill the weeds, so the good crop can keep growing. And I see you as a young lady who's growing, who's got stuff around her, but the stuff can get pulled out and you can keep on growing because you're not going to stop growing. And as long as you have your focuses on Jesus, well, that's who you're going to want to become like, right? Isn't that what it's all about in the good soil?
Yeah.
Even when there's bad stuff, the Bible never promises us that only good things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Look at different people in the Bible, whether it be David or Moses, even Jesus. Lots of bad things happen, but they still stayed true to God. How do you think about that?
How do I think? I forgot the question.
How do you think about the fact that hard things come to people who are believers?
Well, I think that is actually a good thing that we're listening and we're hearing about it and we're more saying the truth about the God, not like our disciples that think, I just forgot about it, and then maybe next time I will hear it and will tell about it. No, some people don't really usually understand some things like about the God. So Jesus explaining them in simple words like my father does. And when they understand and they hear it, they want to learn it if we want to. But if they don't listen and they just close their ears up and close their mouth to talk about it. And about the people who actually listens and who actually hears it, they do the stuff that God wants them to do. So it's actually a good thing that they do listen and they do hear it, because that's how God planned his return and how he planned to show them love about through Jesus and his sacrifice.
Okay. Yeah, and we could be in a field of good soil and still grow and still keep our focus on Jesus and just make sure the weeds don't overcome us. Mm-hmm. I think we could get lost in the weeds. You think so?
Yeah.
But if we keep our focus on Jesus, it's easier that the weeds will die out. So, are there any other thoughts about what you think about the seeds or why this is important to you?
Well, whenever I hear about this parable, I always think about myself. Who am I? What seed am I? And it usually represents my heart, how I feel about Jesus and how I feel about people who don't know the God. So as a missionary girl, I'm trying to get through my fans that God has a path for them, and I want them to understand that through me, through my words, and through my comfort that I given them, and that I'm trying to give them the path that show them the path that God has prepared for them.
Okay. And that's a remarkable answer. That really is a remarkable answer. It's I think in a lot of ways, as a 16-year-old, God has given you a lot of insight. I mean, and a couple of your answers here is really good. So, and knowing you at home and in Moldova, I think that you're pretty smart anyway. So, anyway, I think it's really this parable is a really important parable. I've heard it said that they call it the parable of parables, that there's parables within parables inside this parable. It's kind of it sounds redundant, but it's really a pretty cool parable, and I like this whole thing. I think it lays it out to where the world is, where we see people who on the rocky or on the hard street who don't care about God. They don't want anything to do with God. They're taken up. And as I said, the birds take them away. I mean, it's just what it is. We see people who get excited about Jesus and they just say, oh, forget it. And they walk away. We see this. It's all about real life. And I think that as long as we understand that the parables that Jesus spoke, and this one in particular, that it really does relate to our lives. It relates to all lives in the world. I think we'll be better off. So how do you like America so far?
Well, it's very interesting from Moldova because it has so many things that I don't have in Moldova, like the buildings, the roads. The roads in here are better than in Moldova.
No potholes everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing we do have, our roads that are much nicer. And the rules on the road are much easier.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how how we drive here. When I'm in Moldova, I don't want to drive at all. And especially in Chisinau, it's just like, oh, there's just no way. I'm surprised that your mom is driving. It just feels so like it would be hard for me.
Yeah.
But when you grow up there, I guess it's different. So I really enjoy having you in our home. I really do. I think it's been a blessing. I know there's one thing we do that might be hard. You can say this to me or not freely. So we have dinner, and at our dinner table, we don't let you leave, do we?
Yeah.
But at home, you just get up and leave once you're done, correct?
Yeah, when usually guests, I just get up and leave because usually the guests are like my father and mother's friends that I don't talk with, and I will go. You can have some fun together.
So how do you like it staying at the table with us and we're all sitting there until we're done talking?
It feels like trying to get a habit to sit until it's done for real, and it actually helps me to discipline myself from usual habits that I have, like staying up late or leaving the table after I eat without talking. So it's actually pretty...
So in other words, we're good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you can tell your dad this.
I will tell him.
Well, I think that's good for today. Is there anything else you want to say about Texas or about Moldova or?
What can I say?
Anything you want.
I need to tell my parents about this because it's my second interview in my life, and it's actually pretty interesting to be in the interview because I usually I don't know how to answer that. No, I don't know what the question is, but when I talk about with my parents and I say, "Mom, Dad, look, I was on TV," it brings so many nostalgia. Like I remember one time when my father was on the TV and talks about the God and was like, "Mom, look, Mom, Dad is on TV," and it's actually pretty good for me to communicate with people through this. And I also want to say that thanks to my parents that they bring me here and they let me to stay with you and learn about the God and about you more, because why not?
Well, this was mostly you. You're the one that pushed it.
Yeah.
You're the one that came to me. I think it was the beginning of the year. I'm coming to live with you. And I said, oh, you are? How's your English? It's good. And your dad said, yeah, she's talking.
Yeah.
So that was you who pushed it. You had a lot of determination that you wanted to come.
Yeah, I do have a lot of determination, but I need to push it to get that determination so I can finally learn something about the life that I don't know, and to finally be brave girl and talk with people.
Well, yeah. And you know what? A lot of teenagers, they are shy or, not because they're introverted, because they're insecure. And there's no reason for you to be insecure because you have it all. You're a pretty sharp kid. You probably know a lot more than a lot of people. And the things you don't is because of the innocence that you have, which I think is really remarkable. It's really good. Your parents have raised you well. And I have to give them thumbs up on that. So, and the more you consider wanting to continue to be the kind of young lady that God wants you to be, then you will do well in life. So I also applaud you, because your parents can't do it all. You have to do the other half. So, well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We're going to cut this, and we just want to say we'll see you next week. You have a wonderful day. You have a wonderful week. Aloha.